I think one of the first things that comes to mind is knowing that there's just more than one insurance company, right? So the biggest thing is just shop around.
This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, I just had this experience with Johan, and I'm going to tell you the personal experience was very, very good. We looked at a variety of things. And I think it's important to understand that each insurance company, they have their own priorities, and they're going to target a specific market. And you may not be the right market for that particular company.
That's 100% right.
Right?
That's 100% right.
That's what I learned when talking with you, and as we shop together collectively looking for the right policy for me and my family. I think it's important that everyone understands that, look, you may have a particular liking of their commercials. You might have a particular liking of what they're selling. The idea that I can just get the cheapest thing I can possibly get, that may not be the best thing for you because it might not cover the things that are most important, right?
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the same way that, for people that buy computers, they either gravitate towards one operating system or the other.
Indeed.
Right? And they have different purposes, they have different goals, they have different objectives, and the companies, they don't want every single consumer necessarily.
Right.
They want the right fit.
Yeah. Because then they've got happy customers as opposed to somebody who's wondering why they don't do the things that they want them to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the same thing with insurance guys. I mean, certain insurance companies are going to target a specific group. Some are going to target those who are more challenging. Some are going to target those who are the least challenging. And the prices will reflect that.
Yeah.
And they're going to, so when they submit their policy list to the insurance division, they're going to say, this is what we want to do and this is how we want to do it based on certain price points or whatever. That's how they're doing it. So they're targeting based on their policies and their rates.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely they are. And I think sometimes, and I'm speaking as like a consumer right now.
Yeah.
Sometimes as a consumer, we think that kind of the world revolves around us a little bit. And we think,
we do.
Hey, this is how you should view me. This is how you should treat me.
Yeah.
And we kind of see ourselves in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And by kind of having a conversation or at least branching out and looking around, you start to realize, oh, okay, you know what? I know that maybe what I expect is not necessarily going to be a fit for this particular carrier. And maybe I can find maybe I won't find a better rate, but maybe I'll find a better experience. Maybe I'll find better coverage. Maybe I'll have this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
And so I think the first thing that people can do is just start asking questions.
Yeah.
Right? In any kind of pursuit of growth or learning, you just got to ask questions.
Yeah, I think that a lot of, before having so much interaction with insurance people, I always thought, a homeowner's policy was a homeowner's policy and an auto policy was an auto policy. And I just picked a number and I went with that. But no, there's so many variables within every single policy, just, like no two homes are alike.
Exactly.
It could be an exact same floor plan as another home, but guess what? It's in a different spot. It's not the same spot, or it could be in a very similar spot, but a different floor plan. So no two homes are like so. And for an individual buyer, one home's better than another. So It's the same thing with an insurance policy. It's not one size fits all. It's not, guys, and it's not just a question of price. And I'm not here trying to upsell people on spend more money on insurance. That's not my objective here. My objective really would be to say to you is that, listen, value is a different thing than price. And value is, gee, am I getting the coverage for the things that I'm most concerned about and should be concerned about? Am I covering those things? Because what I'm doing is I'm paying your company to take care of my potential loss. That's what I'm doing. I'm saying I'm trying to pass hey, if I have a problem with this, you take care of it. And that's what I'm doing. I'm paying you to do it. And like everything else, it's gone up.
Yeah, and honestly, it's one of those things that like nobody wants to pay for something that they don't use. Right. And so insurance is one of those things where it's just like you're paying for what's going to happen on the worst possible day for you. And that may not be for some of our customers 20, 30 years down the road.
Hopefully never. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Yeah.
Exactly.
But you got to be prepared for it. And one personal piece of advice I would give to our listeners is that I want you to think about the amount of deductible you're willing to handle, because that's very impactful on your rate. And so you might say, gee, I don't want to have to come out of pocket on anything on a major issue. Okay, that's fine. You're going to pay a lot more for that coverage. But if you say, you know what, if something bad happens and I can write a check for $1,000 or $5,000 or whatever it is that I can afford to pay at that time, that's going to affect my rate. And if I never use it, I've saved myself some money over the life of the insurance policy.
Yeah,
Right.
you're absolutely right. And what's kind of interesting is now what we're kind of seeing as far as like trend wise is we're actually seeing where more insurance companies are actually changing that. And in some cases, arbitrarily without the consumer necessarily being aware. They send the notices, they legally have to do that.
We don't read
but
that.
We don't, right? We don't
read that stuff.
But like a lot of companies nowadays are moving to a percentage point deductible.
Whoa.
It's a huge.
Oh, that's a big
difference.
change.
It's a big difference, right? So
Yeah.
we're used to the $1,000, maybe $1,500,
Yeah.
$2,000 deductible, and now it's saying, okay, now we're going to do 1% of what the replacement cost for your dwelling is.
Wow.
So if you have a home that's like 1.2 million, you're now going to be paying $12,000 in a deductible.
Okay. Gotcha.
And the more that your replacement cost of your house goes up, because it goes up every year, right? The cost of replacing your home goes up. So the more that coverage goes up, you're like, great, more coverage. But if it's percentage based,
Higher deductible.
Higher deductible.
Yes, and they don't have to change the paperwork now. The deductible automatically goes up based on the
goes up.
value, right?
100%.
So, oh wow, interesting. I'd never heard that before. So that's So what that presents, look, you guys out. Here's the important thing: shop. And they can call you if they want to, Johan. Right? Listen, if you're listening to Johan right now and you're saying, "Gee, this guy sounds like he knows a lot about insurance. Maybe I should be talking to him about my policies." Go ahead and text his name. Text Johan to 702-203-1165. I'll put you in touch with him, and he'll talk with you about your insurance. So maybe he can help you out with your policies. Now, you guys do homeowners, you do auto, you do business, you do...
We do everything.
Umbrella policies.
Yep.
You do health and...
We don't do health. We personally, we have a network where if you have any kind of insurance needs, we have people that are really good in those different segments. Yeah. But we do a lot of commercial and personal lines of insurance.
Got it. Makes sense. Okay. So look, if you're thinking you're out there and you're wondering, gee, I wonder if I could, just text Johan to 702-203-1165. I'll put you in touch with him, and he'll talk to you about your insurance situation, and maybe he can save you some money. Maybe he can get you a policy that's more appropriate for you. The other one thing is that one of the things I've always said, and I've had some insurance people on before, and I've talked about these TV commercials where they say, hey, just pay for what you need. Well, people don't often know what they need. They're not doing the right assessment. They're just saying, well, what I need is the lowest possible price I can pay, period, end of story.
Yeah.
And when something bad happens, they're surprised by the fact that they don't have the right coverage.
The biggest difference is, as a captive agent, you're kind of bound by by the agreement that you have with them.
You're selling one company's product.
You're tied to just the one company's product. And so you're kind of at the mercy of, okay, if they make a decision strategically and they need to change or pivot directions, or they need to, whether that's premium or whether that's coverage or whatever it is, you're kind of just, as an agent, you're just, okay, I've got to roll with it.
Right. I got to sell that somehow, whether it's good or bad. I got to sell it.
100%.
But when you're independent, you go to a variety of companies. So you can choose based on your client's needs, very specifically, and I can attest to it personally, that we might have to switch companies periodically.
Yes. Excuse me. And what's kind of interesting is, so I myself personally have recently kind of made the transition from being a captive agent to now being fully independent.
Great.
So still have a relationship with the existing captive company that we've been writing for, but due to some changes, we've kind of made a pivot, and they've allowed us to now kind of broaden our scope and our product offering. And so being able to kind of see it from both sides of the fence is really interesting, because for us from the agent side, it's at times it's like, okay, I was really good at knowing one product or knowing one process or knowing one set of rules.
Right.
And now it's a whole different ball game.
Right. You've really got to read up. You got to do some studying. You got to figure out what's best for who. And help them figure out what's best for them.
Right.
So, I can see that as being a challenge. Yeah, you've just expanded your market dramatically from what you can sell. And so you have to have tremendous amount of knowledge.